Hello, welcome to a very special, very boxy edition of Pixels Plays The Beginner's Guide because I'm too lazy to change the title. And it's April Fool's Day, so I have an excuse, and my kitty is meowing at me for some reason. Um, Still haven't found my Elgato. It's probably somewhere. I found some boxes that I forgot I had, or bins that I forgot I had, and they have like some chords, but they don't. I can't. There's no Elgato in there, so um, yeah. Like I'm really tempted to like just follow all of the USB cables hooked up to my like hub and PC, and then like, oh, like one of them actually leads to the Elgato, which has actually been here all along. Um, I just haven't like I don't know if that's really going to yield any results because like I looked around my PC and entertainment center and haven't seen anything resembling an Elgato. Um, but wait, I might be doing two streams, basically a VR stream and this one. The VOD, or at least on YouTube, is going to be retitled Beginner's Guide. But for now, I'm deliberately misleading people to believing this is another interview of Emler. Um, but the Beginner's Guide is from the creator of the Stanley Parable. I've already like watched a bunch of Let's Plays of Stanley Parable, so that's just completely ruined for me. Um, I mean, it might still be fun to play, but I think it'd be more fun to like bring someone like Aaron, my friend Aaron, on the show to have him play it because he hasn't like I don't think he's quite as exposed to the Stanley Parable as I am. So it'd probably be a lot more interesting to see him play it because he doesn't. He knows that like it's an unusual game. I'm not sure if he's ever watched a Let's Play of it. Hopefully not. Or at least his memory of the Let's Plays isn't quite as um uh encyclopedic as mine is. I mean, it might be still fun for me to play, but I'm completely blind to Beginner's Guide. I just know it's from the guy who did the Stanley Parable, so hopefully it'll be fun and it's something appropriate for April Fool's Day. Um, and it will hopefully. I'm not sure if it'll hopefully be a standalone, like one episode thing. Um, but I'm kind of hoping it will be just because, yeah, I don't, I can't, I don't have an excuse for like not changing the tabs after the first part, and I also want to resume Emler tomorrow probably. But anyway, my VR game that I'm probably gonna play if I actually have it installed. I think I do. I'm pretty sure I bought it at some point. I might have bought it on my dad's account, so because he has PlayStation Plus and I don't, so he gets extra discounts often. So I just um, and my PlayStation is his primary PlayStation, so I can. But in order to actually download the games, I have to log into his account. Um, but I can play it because it's his primor, his not in the sense that the Nintendo Switch is his. Um, but yeah, because I actually bought the PlayStation 4 before he did. He had PlayStation Plus on PS3, so I just yeah, the only way for me to play games on my account. Now he owns two PlayStation 4s, and I only own one. But anyway, enough about that confusing thing. Yeah, and the box is going to break the fourth wall, but it doesn't matter because It's April Fool's Day, so actually I have a hat that I was gonna wear. Dang it. Excuse me. I should this works perfectly. There we go. This is perfect. um, yeah, I've actually had this since probably before high school. Actually, I find this like since middle school. This is like a really old hat. Your treasure select and begin the game. I mean, it's also from the co-creator of whatever it's called, the accounting VR.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shield evacuation.
Oh, we're sealed inside.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room. Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Okay.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper Machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper Machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Who did you get to do the voice?
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
The path was behind her.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards. So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
Fisher could be
It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying
Why
to
does
give
the
it a
future
unique voice rather than simply
keep
basing it on a
changing?
pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clear. But the future is always behind her. How will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh, it's Slender. You are now entering the Twilight Zone.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do? Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Pose a pair of floating items emitting footstep notes as a key in one game unlocks the door. Completely separate game. You walk around taking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for
Game is nothing but
games.
giant text box of text explaining what's happening. A series of lavish manuals come with the game.
Coda would often
giving you
tell me
correct
that he
instructions
didn't
on how to
mind
play.
if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that.
Destroyed.
It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A button you press to stop the chaos that doesn't work. Play is the camera filming an advertisement walking around the set and... Okay. I'm trying to read this to people who can't read. Or who like just listening to it for some reason. It's because I'm used to reading text aloud.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Just push the lever and the door opens. Okay, that's not really.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
It reminds me of some of the puzzles in Riven, actually a little bit.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, Now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Doesn't really move the
How
walls.
about that? There was
makes
more
them
to it
invisible.
than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Oh, this is again. We are now exiting.
Aha. So this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
It's a great and lovely descent.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
The streetwise full.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
That's what the Source engine's good for. Linear boxy corridors. Can I jump? Oh, I can jump, okay. Ah!
This prison, Funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't. It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly. Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
That's the world above. You've been there. This is important. Did you have to get for a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. There was literally the last thing I did before coming here. After all, we've just met. You're getting perched now, please. Tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. Well, I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. Like you... I don't know. It's tricky to explain. Like you... open the door. You close it. You walk through it as it's closing. You go, turn around, hit the other switch on the other side of the door. And... it opens the second door. Oh, hey, Yuki. Happy April Fool's Day. You're being an April Fool. Okay. Let's think hard, please try to remember. It's important that we get out of here. We must escape this prison. Can you think harder? There must be something else. Please tell us how to reach the end. some kind of Oh, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? We actually, this black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. This is a game about a pretentious art student making games.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level. It's a lamppost.
Narnia!
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
It's notes to see in it. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you can see are left by other players. What's like Demon Souls? Just ...
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
How you beat this game? No point to this. Whoa, holy shit. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
How is there wood and grass and concrete here? What the fuck?
That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and
tell
see
you
the
the truth,
voices
once
in
upon
their
a time
head
I did.
and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy
Fine.
in-person socializing. I
I'm
could just get to
very
know you
well.
through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Do not be afraid. Do you care? I just saw a flying penguin. Let me tell you, it was the most majestic thing I have ever seen. I don't feel like living because nothing will ever be as majestic as that. I never want to see again, and nothing will ever be that beautiful again. I'm crying now and plan on ripping my eyes out. I must go now to do that. Do you feel like a hero yet? This game is so nice. I would like it when I could. The world full of notes, one man will read them all. This summer, you will believe. In a world full of notes, one man will read all of them. This summer, you will believe blue speech bubbles can talk. Cool cavern, bro. You leave a comment on his trailers. Asking him to say that. We're running out of space. Soon we will suffocate. There are too many messages in this area. Why? I'd rather be doing literally anything other than playing this. Hey, I can type here. The guy over there wrote much wrong. What the shit is this cavern? Boring. I can assure you guaranteed that there is an acorn somewhere here in this place, and the sailors are looking for it. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. I refuse to believe. But I need to go to the freaking bathroom. Recognize me, please. There's nothing here. Go back. Don't listen to that guy. A free t-shirt. Need other side. Door, why you so? Base game includes door. Can I open the door? Thanks. Open sesame. Door how open. Someday I will meet the person who made this. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room. Do you hear the chimes? They keep you going, don't they? I would like very much to be desired. Sacred writing something. Don't want to feel judged. Or scared writing something. It's not very crowded here. You can go in here, I think. Welcome, congratulations. I don't really know where to go with this. Don't bother. A game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet. This is where I get off. I failed to write anything here. I'm compelled. Stop, turn back. Proceeding further will only result in misery. Take my hand, let's jump together. Dang it. There's so many other speech bubbles. No, we can't actually jump. Okay, cool. Cool, bro. Cabbage shaped starvation. What is that painting? It doesn't matter if you ever get over there. What happens if you like do no clip and try to actually get to the other spot? Hey, don't talk about me that way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's actually something to that. Like, you can... I don't know, like... I think there's something to do with the Source Engine game to, like, get, the console cheats to come up. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised, like, just knowing the Stanley Parable and things. I think the Stanley Parable actually allows you to, like, you can use cheats and actually... the game something actually happens if you start using cheat codes, like the narrator berates you for being a dirty, rotten cheater. I think this is not going anywhere. Next time I will do better. I need someone to talk to. Actually, I'm not sure if we'll play the other game because there's a... This is a note? To listen to the other notes. I'm not safe. There's so many notes. Today I learned you cannot fall off. Ethical. Stop faking it. Penny, what does it mean? Whoever made this had issues. Art. Well done, all of you. Hey guys, how's it going? Just hanging. I think it's about how things look messy from up close and perfect from far away. Up here, it just looks like dots. Oh, wait. Hope, I'm trying to speak. Who are all of you? I saw a person walking down there. Now it won't come back. We'll all die someday. I think they actually go gray after you check them. That's actually nice. Cabbage shaped starvation. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. It's representing you are other people. Devil Tower Star. It's about how this game is pretentious and you all suck. Devil Tower Star again. He was himself the most horrible creature he could imagine. Maybe I'll feel real someday. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game! More room?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle.
Scared of running something.
And
Don't
here,
want people to
I'll
die.
tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Escape, escape, need to escape. Cut it up and spread it between the worlds. Almost there. I've seen everything. I have traveled the world. I have never told anyone. I wish there were notes in the real world. Become one with spiraling nonsense. Downward, keep digging.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
You close your eyes and wish it for it really bad. Almost at the end. Does this puzzle have a solution? OMG! I have been here for literally an hour. What WTF do I do? Help! Shit, how do you solve it? Developer, answers please. This doesn't make sense. The second door won't open. Help!
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
No answer, I think? I'm heading back to start later, guys. Guys, it's not so bad in here. No solution. There is no second switch. How do you leave notes? Oh, there's lamppost again. Are you there? Please say something. Give me anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak. Porn stars die
Okay, this
too.
one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Or is that like...
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
The furniture ought to go in the center of the room. Put a giant hole in the ground. Okay, now what? Go on the wall of the room. Put a huge picture of a horse. That's not even what we're getting. We should light up this room a bit. A full ceiling window. Let's open this baby up. I'm thinking 10 by 10 recessed electric 6-inch Santa LED ceiling lights with a fluorescent trim. We'll put lights as glucose in each corner, yeah. A table, you need a table. Your choices don't matter. I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. Heels were invented in 1935.
There's a bit more to this one, but still it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Please, oh, please walk forward. On. This has to work. We do everything except walk forward, and then something interesting happens. Okay, I guess. Oh, please walk forward. This guy will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Please take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good. Now go over to the photo frame and click on it. Click to turn it slightly. And the full lamp off, and then turn it back on. The left side step, but move it over a little. Finally touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will not open. Return to the start. Be taken back to your prison. Okay. Return.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
You're gonna travel through time? Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. Okay. You're me? Who am I? So you were trapped in this prison too? Yeah, I was in the furniture maze.
Conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
What's it like to escape? Like being completely still and wildly in motion at the same time. Do you feel any different? Because I'm scared I'll get out and then things will be exactly the same as before. I'm not the same person at all. Oh good. That's so nice to hear. It makes me feel really happy. It just kind of does that, you know? Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of yourself when you were trapped? Yes, I did get a call. That's how I escaped. What did they tell you? What did you have to do to get out? Oh, to be sincere, what? That freed you? How does that work? Just be sincere. Sincere about what? That's exactly what you need to figure out in order to escape.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself? To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
I can kind of see this game didn't get as much buzz or catch on as much as the Stanley Parable. I mean, it is really interesting, but there's not quite as much humor to it, I guess, or just silliness. I don't know, like it feels like it's touching upon something a bit more serious. Oh my goodness, I was glad Eteki showed up. Though I'd be having to clean this entire house all by myself. And right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows how
You'll notice that the quality of the
close
art is a step up from previous
hands
games,
make gloves and help.
including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
You might be getting ahead of yourself there now. Why don't we start cleaning and then you decide whether you could do it all night? I'll finish it up here. In the meantime, could you please clear the table? Much nicer. A table I want to see. Now would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? What is this, a David Cage game? At least all you have to do is shift to skip it. And drag me along as I was particularly desperate for cash. Turns out I never felt so good doing something for money in my whole life. Never did like cleaning my own home. I might have got some demons I ain't ready to face yet. Or speaking of demons, someone put this couch in a mess. Would you mind straighten out the pillows here? We got someone spilled a drink over by the couch. Maybe mop it up on the edge over there. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? You absolutely have to. Make it especially cheesy. No. No, it was stupid, sorry, never mind. Hey, this is easy to wash. Why don't you come do that? As I checked, the tubby is as best you can. Maybe perfect. We're all just human with clean heads. Look there for the bedroom. It's okay. Put it back on the shelf. Perfect. How about you come and clear the...
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Darling, let me tell you something. In your lifetime, you are going to clean a lot of houses. And among all of those, a few of them will stick out as truly wonderful, beautiful experiences. But none of them will be the ones that were easy.
I know
Just
that
something
Kuda
to
really
think about
liked
while
this
you
game.
move the rug, out the rug in the
Of all
bedroom.
of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Did we already do that? Okay, we're repeating, cheesy spot. I was gonna say, it occurs to me that no one's house is a lot like one soul. You take care of it, it takes care of you. Don't know why I still feel what's so weird about... Yeah, right, that's pretty cheesy. Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clear the books? Thanks. Close the kitchen room.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Question.
But,
Do you
of
enjoy
course,
this?
it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Oh, I need to stop.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. All your friends and people in your life to look back at you think, well, this person is being better human being than I am. Right now, who you think about that way in your own life. Who you know is so well-developed person they make you feel disgusted with yourself, compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, and tend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? This is easy. It is so easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the
Being
perspective
perfect is
shifts.
effortless.
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
See how I should ever on the way to work I told elderly person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dreams. But let me tell you right now, if it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. I still love you, it's just that you make me feel cold on the inside. You're hurting yourself trying to find the right solution for your life. No, just doing it right. Maybe it's not hurting my life. Because all of you perceive me as being twice as intelligent. You're saying you won't be as happy until you love me. This is for you. It's the beginner's guide. It's by the guy who created the Stanley Parable. And I believe it's also the guy who made accounting. Or like the co-creator of accounting. If I remember correctly. Developing is this gross. Just kidding. I want to do some extra after this. There is no truth, there is no half. What if I'm not a good teacher? Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out. Nothing, no one. It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone run, run!
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Power savings. Okay. The aliasing disabled? Over. Wow, the game looks so much better. How about hey, we might do another like non April Fool's Day episode of this where I actually title things correctly. But I have another live stream to watch in about 15 minutes, so yeah, here we go. Here's the title screen, the beginner's guide. It's kind of interesting. It's not quite as funny as the Stanley Parable, but it has like it's like the story of like told by a friend of like a pretentious game designer who is just making a series of games like kind of just for himself that are like weird and quirky and slightly pretentious. So it isn't quite as silly as I was hoping it would be, but hey, it's April Fool's Day, so I guess like the silliness is that I'm pretending to be streaming Kings of the Amalur, and but in actuality, I'm just too lazy to change the title. I'm gonna be resuming playing it later anyway, so it's a lot of work going through like changing the tabs and or tags and then changing them back when I do have a text file somewhere which has like all the tags for like the various live streams I've been doing, so I mean, it's not that difficult, but it's still a bit of a pain. I kind of wish that like YouTube just let you set up like several template live streams or something. So if you're like live streaming multiple things or multiple subjects at once, you can just set it up quickly. But there might be like some like application or extension for OBS or something that maybe I could actually use to just manage multiple live streams or something. But anyway, thanks for watching. We can go to our outro. Here, our wall of patrons first. So you have this one patron. Currently, Eric Mann. Thank you, Aaron. $10 mega patron. And of course, you don't have to donate that much. You can donate at A level and be featured here on the wall of patrons for as little as $1 per month. Maybe you don't feel quite that generous. You can still do all the things that take seconds of your time. We have a Twitch channel. If you're not on Twitch already, watching this. And yeah, thanks for watching, even though I'm doing a big April Fool's thing by pretending to stream one thing. it's like just it's the laziest of lazy, but hey, my sense of humor is kind of to make fun of myself, so. But anyway, I will be retitling this and at least for the YouTube VOD, we'll have all the proper tags. It's easier to do after the fact. So, and I probably will be doing a second part of this eventually. I'll also be doing, at least until I find my Elgato, I'll be doing some Twitch exclusive. And maybe later after Lotus Prince's live stream, so like an hour or two, I'll do like Just in Time Incorporated as a second part to this April Fool's thing, except it will actually have the proper tags and everything. Just because that's definitely a funny, interesting game for VR. So I'll probably be doing 2 live streams today, possibly. But anyway, you can subscribe or follow, and yeah, okay. Thanks for watching, and until next time, sayonara.